Good morning. We are going to get started with our media availabilities in advance of Sunday's AAA Texas 500 here at Texas Motor Speedway. And we are starting off with Dale Earnhardt Jr., driver of the number 88 Nationwide Justice League Chevrolet. Dale, you've been participating in the Junior Nation Appreciation Tour over the last several races. It's actually going to continue after the season ends when we head to Las Vegas, where you'll be hosting Appreciation, an evening with Dale Earnhardt Jr. presented by Nationwide. Pretty special event for you, an opportunity to get together with your friends and family and the fans to come together to celebrate your career. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that event?
Yeah, we let's see here. Mike Davis sent me an email with some talking points. I just want to make sure I get it right because he's pretty hardcore. Basically, we thought about what kind of event we could put together for some sort of a final hurrah or something we could do that included the fans around the banquet week. And so we had a lot of ideas come up, and the key things that were important to me were that it was for the fans and that myself or NASCAR or anybody for that matter didn't profit off of it, that we would use all the proceeds to go to the Nationwide Children's Hospital. So we got NASCAR to sign off on all those things, and we went forward with creating an event where me and Mike Davis will be the hosts of the event, and I have no idea what really is going to happen and who the guests are. So I didn't want to know what was going on or what Mike planned or who would be there. I imagine that he's going to bring up some folks that are part of my family, part of my life, part of my past racing history. So it should be a lot of fun, and tickets are on sale now at NASCAR.com. I'm going to post the link because I think the link's a little tricky to find on NASCAR.com, but I'm going to post the link on my social platforms. Right now, there are 246 tickets left, so I'm excited about that. This is if I'm going to do something like this, this is exactly how I'd like it to go, as far as something the fans can enjoy, and it's strictly for them, and it benefits a great cause. It goes right along with the bullet points that we've talked about all year for this appreciation tour, and should be a lot of fun. So it's going to be a big surprise for me and for the fans, and I think that'll keep it really entertaining. And Mike, he's got a great personality, very creative, so I'm certain that he's going to keep the hits coming. So I'm excited, to get there and be a part of that program. And we thought about getting a host for it, but we figured, why don't we just host it ourselves? What could go wrong?
All right, we're going to open it up to questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll start here with Chris.
Chris, MyCatchFans.com. Dale, this morning I woke up and I saw the video of the fan last weekend in Martinsville that was literally crying when he got to meet you. I was just wondering if you could walk us through the experience and what that was like and what you said to him.
Tyler, where's Tyler Overstreet? Is he in here? Tyler, where did we meet him at?
You met him there in the spring.
That's right. So we met him at the spring race. Was it outside the track or something? But we told him to come back to this race. We'd give him hot passes. So when I saw him in the garage, he was just a guest of ours for the weekend. But the reason why we had such a such an intimate interaction is because every time I see him, he cries. And I'm trying to tell him there at that moment that the racetrack's a happy place. We're going to have a lot of fun. This car, we're going to work on this car and try to get our car fast. And that he was there for the whole weekend and to enjoy it and make sure that he has fun. we saw him every day, and after the race, we saw him and signed some gloves. I signed the gloves that we used and gave them to him. Right after we got out of the car, I said, meet me at the car. I'm going to park it on pit road with all the other cars. I'll see you at the pit wall. He had a gift for me and Amy, and so we swapped gifts. He lost his mom to an illness just recently, so he's just, having a hard time with that. And so, just seemed like, he seems like a great kid. Just wanted to, have him out to the race and give him a really great experience and get him as close to the car and the team as we could. And he had a lot of fun. He's stood there with us for the anthem and enjoyed pre-race with us and got to be involved in all that and see what was going on. So it's a neat deal.
We'll go to Bob and then to Holly.
Bob Hawkers, ESPN. You seemed so excited after Martinsville just because of the way that race was. Is that maybe one of the things that you'll miss the most? And was there any part of you during that race like, man, I can't give this up?
Martinsville, I just love, I feel like I just repeat myself over and over, but to answer your question, short track racing to me is, it's something we don't get to do a lot. So even as you're racing through the season, you miss it and want to do it. So you get excited when you get the chance to go to Bristol or Martinsville. When those come up on the schedule, I get really excited about being able to race in close quarters and that those tracks to me have such a strong link to the history of the sport and to my memories and of being around in the 80s and 90s. We had a lot more short tracks on the schedule back then, and it seemed like we were going to places like that all the time and seeing action like that more on the regular. And it'd been so long since I've gotten out of a race car and heard the crowd go through so many different emotions for 20-30 minutes after a race. I mean, it was just incredible to be a witness to that and to feel that energy of the crowd so plugged in to what was happening around the racetrack. And as you were seeing the drivers pop up on the big screen, the fans would react, and man, I can't even remember the last time I've seen anything like that or witnessed anything like that. But we've seen it before, but boy, it's been a while. It was really a magical moment, I thought, for anybody that likes racing. It was really cool. I know there were some people there that were disappointed in not having the best time, but as far as people being plugged into what's going on and excited about what's going on and enamored with what's happening on the racetrack and so forth, that was as good as it gets. Martinsville just seems to always be a place where you can count on having a fun race. You can count on seeing a great finish. You can count on being entertained the entire time. And for being such a small venue and having so much history, I think they do such a great job with it. So just I can't say enough good things about that track. I didn't have any moment during the race where I was thinking, man, I wish I could untie this knot. But when I think, man, wonder what about racing and driving cars I'll miss. I know I'll miss people. I know I'll miss my team. But when I think about driving cars, what I'm going to miss the most, Martinsville. What you get out of a race at Martinsville, you can get it at other places too, but what you get there, man, is so fun and so enjoyable, and it's dependable. It's there every time you go.
We'll go to Holly and then Wolfgang.
Over to your left, it would be.
Way left.
Hey, Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Along these same lines, and I know you're asked about it nearly every week about your memories, your thoughts of the track, but certainly this has been a special place to you in your career. If you could talk about getting that win here that you did, and I was actually here for it. So I'm so. But just talk about that and what this place means to you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know coming into Texas that this place would become so special to me. We had a tire rub and a couple other things go on in that Xfinity race that surprised me that we won. We were able to come back to win and get through the field. Nemechek was hard to beat pretty much every week. A couple other guys, but so I was really proud of that win. And then to come back and get your first Cup win at the same track, I think that shows right there how much confidence really matters. Confidence is an emotion almost, or it's just more of a feeling than anything, but it can affect performance and choices you make. If your confidence is low, you make different choices, you think differently, and you race differently. So certainly having that win in the Xfinity Series, I think had everything to do, or a lot to do, with us coming back and winning in the Cup Series at the same track for the first time. It did amazing things for my career. You know, we had won a lot of races in the Xfinity Series, but I thought, man, Cup Series is a whole nother level. These are the pros. I don't know how I'm gonna fit in there and get a win with all these guys doing so good. So many talented drivers and teams. Was our team capable of beating any of these guys? We had to sort of come in and grow and improve. We couldn't win just as an Xfinity team. We had to grow into that Cup atmosphere, and I was surprised myself that we won so soon, and it really did a lot for our career. We had went to the National Sales Convention, or the big yearly meeting that Budweiser has, and stood on stage and told them that they hadn't won a race in a while, and we were going to get them back to victory lane. And to come out there to kind of deliver on that was a bit of a relief. And we kind of started rolling into winning at Richmond and going to the All-Star race and winning. That really was a great short couple of months for us. But I don't know. The Texas has been so awesome to me. My wife Amy, she's from Texas, and I've got a whole nother family down here. That's a big bonus of being married to her. We spent all weekend with them, or all week with her sister and her husband. So Texas is a place that's almost like a second home. I find I love more and more about it the more time I spend here. But the track, there's nothing really unique about the place other than that, Eddie's been amazing as far as a promoter. The things that he does, he's always on the, he's always kind of pushing the envelope. And he means well, I've learned. Sometimes I wondered, but I know he's just trying to do a job and take advantage of his opportunities, and he has to deliver. And so he does what he needs to do to deliver. And it reminds me of some of the older style promoters that we used to have, a lot more flamboyant and creative. So a lot of the stuff that he does actually fun to see. But so his style of promotion brings a certain personality to the track and gives the track a bit of a personality that I think differs from a lot of other places too, which I enjoy. I think that having Eddie here and the job that he does, as hard as it is to admit, he does a really good job and has everything to do with where this place is today.
We'll go to Wolfgang and wrap up with Lee.
Over here. Actually, I have two questions. Rennsport Press, Germany. Number one, your retirement situation. Is it just solely NASCAR, or maybe we can see you in a different kind of championship or series, maybe endurance racing? The second question, a couple of years ago, together with your wife, you made a trip to Germany. In case you get an invitation from a promoter or team to have a guest experience in a German race, will you accept to come over?
I would definitely accept the opportunity to come to another discipline of motorsport as a guest. That would be, I've never been to a Formula One race. I think that I would love to witness one of those at some point in my life. Having devoted a lot of my life to motorsports, I think that it's something you have to check that box, you know, and I think there's other series and forms of motorsports that I have equal interest in observing. So that would be awesome, and if, I'm sure those opportunities will present themselves. I think as far as driving, you know, I'm going to have a couple Xfinity races next year, and that might go on for a few years as long as it helps our company. I think I'll have a bit of an itch to scratch, so I'm not complaining about the opportunity to run an Xfinity series a couple times a year. I think it'll be a lot of fun, to be honest with you. And I'm sure I'm unaware today just how much of an urge I'll have to get into a car and go compete when I have those opportunities on the Xfinity series next year. We have some late model cars that we've owned. We've owned a late model team since 2000, as far as I can remember, maybe even further back than that. I think that it would really be a lot of fun to slip into Hickory one night just for a regular show. Whether that'll happen or not, I don't really know, but it's fun to think about. Another whole thing to do. But outside of that, I don't think I'll be at the 24 Hours of Daytona or anything like that. It's not a. Back when we did those things, it felt like it felt easier to do those one-offs. But that series is so competitive today. You just don't come in there as a hobby. Oh, you know, I'm just going to come in here and have a little fun. I mean, it's just too competitive. And those guys, you know, that series has grown to become, you know, it'd be like one of them trying to come over here and just, you know, flirting with NASCAR a little bit. I don't know that I could have the success I would want to have, or have the opportunity to be in the equipment that I would want to be in. And I mean, as far as working with a 24-hour, working to run a 24-hour race, you want to do it with people that you know. That I drove for Corvette and the Crawford. That was really nerve-wracking because you have teammates that I don't really know that well, and I'm responsible for the car when I'm in it. And man, I don't want to be the guy that screws this up for everybody. And it's a completely different experience. So if I were to run in the 24 hours again, it would have to be with, you know, guys, you know, drivers that I'm friends with, and I just don't know whether that would materialize. It's really unlikely. It was a very, very fun race, my kind of race. I mean, staying up all night long, not getting any sleep for 24 hours, that's right up my alley. So I felt like I had an advantage, but it's just such a cool atmosphere, too, in the middle of the night with the cars running around. Maybe it's just a race I'll go have fun as a spectator at, because I know it's a lot of fun to be there during that event. And watching it on TV all night long at home is a lot of fun. I can't imagine just being there as a fan, but I don't really know that I'll drive too much other than you know, the Xfinity stuff.
We'll wrap up with Lee.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. It was clear on Sunday night, as you mentioned earlier, about the fan reaction, and particularly the fan reaction to Chase Elliott. And you know, there's been talk who will be your successor, and I think that even through good times and bad, what has kept you at the top of the popularity chart with the fans has been your ability to be genuine. Good times, bad. We see what we get. If you had to give advice to these young drivers, or to any driver or any athlete coming in the sport, would that ability to remain genuine, would that be the key thing that you would suggest to them as far as gaining fan approval?
Well, it's hard for me to give those guys advice. When I was that age, I wasn't open to listening to anybody tell me how to be, and especially outside the car. I at that age, and I'm sure those guys are the same way. They think they got it tuned. They're tuned up. They're ready. They don't need really any help. Those, and I guess a lot of what I see from guys, I like. I don't think they need any advice. With like Kyle Larson, I think he's awesome outside the car. He's cool as a cucumber and engaging on social media, has a great sense of humor. People like to see the human side of you and that sense of humor and some of your personal life, and they like to see that you're real. You're just like they are. That's what they want to know, and they relate to people that they can imagine you living right next door or running into your grocery store, and I think that a lot of these guys that's who they are, and that comes across well in their social media interaction. And so I don't know that I don't know that I could really give them any advice that they would either take or that would even help them. But I think Chase, I'm with you. I think Chase has a real opportunity to seize, or to not to seize, but maybe to really grow his fan base quickly over the next several years, especially once he starts to eventually get into victory lane, which we all know he's going to. Knowing him and being around him, he's genuine. He tells it like it is. He's hard on himself, critical on himself, but that sometimes too much. But that lets you know that he's not going to hold back his feelings about whether it's himself, someone else, or what's happening. So I think he's going to be a guy that's going to deliver when it comes to being genuine and open to conversation and discussion, and not really close himself off from the media and so forth. So I'm excited about all these guys, Alex and William, and it's just Blaney is just so much fun outside the car just to observe and watch. We all kind of enjoy seeing what he's up to. He's doing something every week. It seems like he's such a he's the guy that I think is taking the lead, and a lot of these guys could follow as far as how he self-promotes and engages with the fans. Does such a good job with it, and he's up for anything. And I think that's a great example if those guys want to look for somebody to follow.
All right, Dale. Well, at this time, we're going to turn it over to Texas Motor Speedway, who has a special surprise for you.
All righty. That's crazy. I don't want to stand next to that. Oh man, really? Yeah, okay.
He's the only one I'm probably worried about, to be honest with you. You ready? You come on, you're gonna love it.
Me? I don't know. I see a horse.
You do a horse again? No way.
All right.
You were concerned that I don't know why, but whoa, SJP, whoa, back it up, come on. SJP's the name of my horse.
Yep.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Okay.
Y'all didn't get that, huh? Okay. Did you get that?
I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
I figured you would. So you were up. Okay, let me put this thing in reverse. I got a couple things for you.
Okay.
If I can get the horse to back up, or come on. How about a little hand here, Brian? All right, so you were concerned. You said the good news is you only got to come to Texas once. I only need once.
Yeah.
So, why don't you come stand around here if you would for a minute?
I'm a little nervous too.
Is it the horse or is it me?
It's the horse, actually.
Okay. Why don't you stand right here?
All right.
We're doing something to honor you, but mostly the Junior Nation, because we have been blessed by great support from the Junior Nation. And so I want to ask Stephanie Meichert to join us up here, Stephanie. And she's going to tell you, you can stand perfect right there. He's not going to bite you.
All right.
Yeah. You into horses?
Yeah. I mean, I like animals.
Okay. You got some at home,
Yeah,
I know,
I
but you
sure
have any
do.
horses at home?
I don't.
Okay. Well, Stephanie's going to tell you about this.
How are you? I'm Dale.
Yes, nice to meet you. I kind of figured that.
All right.
Well, we're a Victory Therapy Center, and we're a therapeutic horse ranch that serves people with disabilities, veterans, and first responders. We're literally less than 5 miles down the road. And we actually have a horse named Chevy, and his track name, I guess I could call it, would be 3/4 ton. So we're actually going to name it in your honor.
Oh.
So it's being sponsored with your name on it, and I do have a fun photo if you want to see
Sure.
with
It's
what
a
he looks like.
Very big horse.
Very big horse.
12-year-old
he's a
male
little heavy.
Percheron thoroughbred mix.
Very good.
And Texas Motor Speedway, this has 88 on the side. Texas Motor Speedway is going to sponsor the horse at the Victory Therapy Center in Roanoke to salute the Junior Nation.
Very
and
cool.
so that way there's a lasting Dell Junior Nation here in the community. So that's the big news. So
Awesome.
thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So-
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
so much.
Thanks for all you
Pleasure to
do.
meet- Thanks for meeting you.
But that's not all. But wait, there's more. So we got this over here, Ziz. Where are we at? Okay, they're going to wheel this in over here, and going to have you go over and pull the cover off of that.
Okay.
So you look nervous.
I am a little nervous.
Look, man, you got your show, I got mine. Okay. And so let them hook
goodness.
this up, and I want you to go pull the cover off. If you
Okay.
would. And I'll tell you what this is. And you pull the cover off. This is from the scoreboard, position number 1, lit up
Oh,
number 8,
man.
from the 2000 DirecTV 500, your first win in NASCAR competition. Whoa, back up. So that's for you to take back to the shop, and
Holy cow.
and want you to have the scoreboard of your first win.
That's it.
So
That's the one.
That is the one. That is the one.
And that's
so,
something.
it came off the scoring tower. We used to have another one
Yeah.
down here, and it came off that scoring tower. So that's
Well,
it.
that's something else.
So we're trying to think of something unique and special. So what's unique and special about us, besides a lot of things we probably don't need to talk about, is that scoreboard in your first win.
Yes, sir.
So one.
Well,
to
thank
have
you.
that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
You
it.
bet. Congratulations
Yes,
to you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But wait, there's more. Is Amy in here?
Amy is here.
Amy, could you join us for just a second? Oh, okay, she's over here. Why don't you just have her bring this on in for us? This is a little gift for you and Amy and for the little one to be.
Okay.
We had this built by Tot Rods, Eddie Serrano. Eddie, where are you at? Right here. Right there. Eddie built this in 7 days.
Wow.
A little stroller for the new little Earnhardt.
That's pretty cool.
And there's some Texas Motor Speedway onesies and stuff like that in the bag. But pull the bag out and you can see the work that Eddie and his bunch have done. You can just pull the bag out of the car. There you go.
Very nice.
And so that's not that's just an early wedding shower gift. So,
Very nice.
Well, thank you. Congratulations, Amy. You're a smart man because you married a Texas girl.
Yes.
And whoa. Okay. I don't drive Sarah Jessica Parker often, but so with all the integrity and the seriousness that a man sitting on a horse inside a building lit up can offer, I want to thank you. I want to congratulate you. What you've meant to this sport, what you've done for this sport, just by being you, There have been times where you have scratched your head about me, I know.
Now's not one of those times.
Well, I hope not. Thank you, Amy. You mean so much to the sport, and appreciate how you've conducted yourself and the things you've done on and off the racetrack, and look forward to seeing you. You're going to get to know me like these people do.
Yeah, exactly.
Now as a media member, and we'll have some fun. But God bless you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Eddie.
So,
Yeah.
still scared?
Not anymore. No, I think it's over, right?
Well, you want to get on Sarah Jessica Parker
I'm
for
all right.
pictures?
No, I'm
You
okay.
sure?
Yeah, I'm real sure.
I drive her to work every day.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, I got you a shirt over here to put on and a hat for pictures, so we'll light you up. No. Congratulations,
Thank
man.
you.
Wish you the best.
Yes, sir.
Love to give you another trophy Sunday.
I'd
I
love
got
to
one
take
in
it
Victor
home.
Lane with the cowboy hat this time and 6 shooters.
6 shooters, which I never shot, so I'm ready.
Do you want to tell them about the first trophy?
I'm trying to think. Was there something?
Okay, so the city of Fort Worth produced the first trophies, and it was modeled after the trophy that the Fort Worth Stock Show was giving away for their 100th anniversary. Whoop, 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 whoops. And so we didn't see. Whoa. Still scared, aren't you?
You need to get more aggressive with that thing.
And so they made the trophies, and we didn't see them until 2 days before the race. So we needed a perpetual trophy, and then we needed individual trophies. So the perpetual trophy is about this big, and it's a beautiful silver cup. Unfortunately, the individual trophies are about this big. And so Dale wins his first race. He's excited, as he should be. And I was embarrassed by the little trophies, so we presented him the perpetual trophy for the photographs in Victory Lane. And then when it's over, I grab him by the sleeve and take him over in the corner and go, "Let me have that. And this one's yours." And so his first trophy is about this big at home.
Yeah.
So anyhow, sorry about that.
No, hey, the second one was much better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there's a third one up here that
All right.
you can take home Sunday if you want.
Sounds like a good deal.
All right. Cool deal. We're all
right.
done. What would y'all like from us?
Sure.
You sure you don't want to get up here for the pictures?
I'm good, actually.
How about back here? Hop on back here with me.
No, I'm good.
Oh, you can leave the tot rod in here. That's
The tot rod?
tot rod.
Tot
Yeah.
rod.
Yeah, leave it in there for the pictures, please. That's cool. Like Eddie's work. So, all right.
All right.
Cool. Anybody else need anything? Thank you. So, anybody else need anything? Y'all good? All right. Are you a horsewoman? Why don't you take him on out of here? I'm kind of uncomfortable here. More than a little bit uncomfortable. Ron, I'm going to turn this over to you. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm going to let you have him, and I'm going to climb off here. So, see if I can do this without killing myself. All right.
Thank you.
There you go. Oh, nothing to worry about. So, congratulations.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, and we're joined by Erik up here. Erik, you have a special paint scheme on your car on Saturday. Additionally, both of your primary sponsors are actually from the state of Texas, so this is their home track. Why don't you talk about what it means to be here and race in their backyard?
Yeah, it's cool. You know, both sponsors located here in Texas, so always fun to race at home for a sponsor. You know, they get to bring all their folks out from the headquarters and join in on the race, and it's just cool to see a lot of people that really you don't get to see throughout the year too much. So I always want to put on a good show for them. We've done a good job for GameStop in the Xfinity Series and grabbed a couple wins for them down here. This is my first time racing for Sport Clips at Texas, so you know, looking forward to seeing everybody coming out and hopefully putting on a good race for them.
All right, we'll open up to questions for Erik. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. Start here, and then go to Matt.
Joey Barnes, Motorsports Tribune. Erik, just talk about the importance before you move on to next year about trying to close out this year with a victory with the team.
Yeah, you know, I think that was a big goal of ours was to win a race this year, and we've got now 3 more shots to do it. So, you know, we've worked hard all year long to put ourselves in positions to win races, and I think we've been close at a couple of them. This last month hasn't been the month we were looking for. We've kind of fell back off and not been able to close out races and have good finishes. So these last three, we're really looking to step it back up and get back up into the top 5 and be contending again and leading laps. So, it's really just been a big learning year for myself. It's been a big growing year for Furniture Row Racing. I think starting a second team was a big jump for Furniture Row, a big jump for us, and a big learning experience for myself. So it was really a new group of guys, but it is important to us. I think, for myself, I think Barney sees this second team as something he had wanted to do for a long time, and I think us grabbing a win would make it a success for this year. I think we've done other things throughout the year that have made it a success, but definitely a win would really cap it all off.
Go to Matt.
Matt Weaver, AutoWeek.com. As a rookie driver, do you feel like veterans are more prone to kind of take the extra aggressive steps similar to what we saw last weekend at Martinsville? Or when you're in that position to where you're racing for a win, you don't really consider who it is you're racing. You just see a chance to win a race and you do whatever you have to do to win.
Well, I think it goes both ways. I think it depends on the driver somewhat. I know I've been in situations before in my racing career where I feel like I'm racing a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience in whatever given car I was in at that point, whether it be for a win or for a position, and feel like there were certain things I could do to take advantage of that. I think that's human nature and racing nature. But I think when you get to the Cup level and you're racing for a win, I think guys really see each other as equals. I don't think guys are looking at other rookies as true rookies in situations they can take advantage of. I look back to Bristol when I was racing with Kyle hard for the win. I don't think Kyle looked at myself as a rookie. I think it was just two guys going hard for the win. So I think there's situations where that happens, but I think when you're racing for a win at this point in the year, I think guys are just charging hard to grab that win. It's important. Guys are doing what it takes, and at this point in the year, it's important to get those wins.
Do we have any other questions for Erik? Oh.
Brad Gilley, PR on Sirius XM. Yesterday you were on Sirius XM and you were talking about Daniel Suarez and some of the things that he does that you envy in the way he drives and maybe his patience, being able to put together a race. For you to sort of combine what you do and what he does, do you almost have to retrain yourself in the way you think about racing?
For sure. I think growing up, racing in really it stems back to what I started racing in, and that quarter midgets and stuff. And I think we showed up to the racetrack to win races, and we never really raced for points or never really raced for anything else. So it was like second just it wasn't good enough, and it didn't amount to anything. So in a way, that's good. That's a great way of thought. But when you get to this level at the top, second place is pretty good. I mean, it's tough to run second in these races. It's tough to run top 5. It's tough to run top 10. So I think it's just a different mentality when you get to the Cup level and even the Xfinity level. If it's a 8th place day, you gotta run 8th. And sometimes for me, there's days where I've taken that and said, hey, we're gonna run here today, and that's all we can do. But there's also days where I feel like I've tried to push it too hard and get more than what either my car was capable of, what I was capable of. So I think I've done somewhat of a decent job of trying to relearn this year and do a better job of taking exactly what the day's worth and what it's going to give me. But it's still a tough thing to do and tough thing to learn from. So, you do have to retrain yourself some to be more patient and really take what it's given you and take what the day's going to give you.
I'll go back to Matt.
Matt Weaver, Auto Week again. Is there any chance that you'll join Kyle Busch at the Snowball Derby next month?
No, I would say it's probably a 0% chance. It's a great race, it's a great event, but for me, I didn't have the right opportunity to really go down and do it the way I wanted to, and I just just didn't really work out the way I was wanting to do it. So maybe someday I'll go back. I would love to come back for the 50th, but it won't be this year.
All right. Well, thanks, Erik, for joining us today. Good luck on Saturday and Sunday.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
And we are going to continue with our media availabilities in advance of Sunday's AAA Texas 500 here at Texas Motor Speedway. We're now joined by Chase Elliott, driver of the number 24 Hooters Chevrolet. Chase, you are currently sitting 8th on the playoffs leaderboard with 2 races left to get into the Championship 4 at Miami, and you've been to Victory Lane here at Texas. This is where you got your first NASCAR Xfinity Series win. So that has to give you a little bit of confidence that you have a shot at a solid finish on Sunday.
Yeah, I hope so. This place is obviously very different now with the repave, and Jimmie had a great run here in the spring, so some good things to look back to with his effort and win. So we feel pretty good about it. I feel good about our car and the improvements we've made over the past number of weeks, and think that if we can just put together a solid weekend, we can try to give ourselves a chance to win, which is pretty important for us at this point. So we'll see.
All right, we'll open up to questions. We'll start up front with Claire, and then go to Bob and Lee.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. After last week, I know that Denny reached out to you, or said he had reached out that direction. What are your thoughts looking back on that? And then what are your thoughts about seeing your face as big as a billboard as the People's Champion when you arrive here in Texas?
Yeah, definitely kind of strange. But, as far as last week goes, I don't know that my thoughts are a whole lot different today than they were then. I'm still pretty frustrated about it, and really as the week has gone along, it's given me a lot of time to think about how close we were to going to Homestead, and I think if anything else, that'll drive you up the wall more as you think about it. So definitely not happy about it, and I don't think a whole lot's changed. But no, I'm not going to answer y'all's questions whether I'm going to get him back or not. So don't even ask, because you're not going to hear it from me. So. Just don't go there. So, but yeah, I don't think my mindset changed a whole lot from that standpoint. But this is a point in this round where we're going to have to perform these next 2 weeks to have a chance at Homestead now, and we'll just have to do just that.
We'll go to Bob, and then to Lee, and then Mark.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. Do you have to put him out of your mind because of what you have at stake, or is the fact that he possibly took that chance from Homestead, still in your head?
Well, for us, we're in a position where we're not completely out from points. If you could have some really solid weeks, good stage points, and those guys don't, potentially get yourself back in it without winning. But it's going to be really hard to do. I think you're going to have to be, in contention to winning these next two weeks, if not, winning an event. And depending upon this weekend goes, kind of set how next weekend is going to have to be. But I'm not overwhelming myself with him or any other driver in particular as the weekend goes along, and I don't think you can do that and look yourself in the eyes and think you have a fair shot if you have that mindset coming into a weekend. So we're going to go about our business as we always do, and hope that we make the right guesses, and I make the right judgment calls, and Alan and the team makes the right calls throughout the weekend to have a chance to win.
We'll go to Lee, and then Mark and Matt.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Chase, were you overwhelmed by the outpouring of support you received by the fans after the race? Because I think the last time I heard that kind of noise was when Earnhardt dumped Terry Labonte at Bristol, and it's been a long time.
It was definitely unexpected for sure. I wasn't expecting to have that or hear that or see it, throughout the week. But it's been I don't know if refreshing is the right word, but it's been definitely pretty encouraging to see that kind of support, regardless of the circumstance. To see people encouraging you and wanting you to go and try to win this weekend, and to me that's been kind of the message from a lot of fans is, hey, the best thing you can do for the fans that supported you is to go and try to win one of these next 2 weekends and give yourself a shot at Homestead. And I think a lot of the people that watch our sport know that, and I'm looking forward to giving it my best shot. Yeah, I think it does for sure. I want to make people proud, and I don't think you can consume yourself with their opinions all the time, because I think that'll might drive you a little crazy. But I think in the right circumstance, yes, I think it can, but you have to be able to turn that off when it's not the right circumstance too.
We'll go to Mark, Matt, and then Nate.
Mark Arrow, PRN. My 80-year-old mom had to stay in the grandstands at Martinsville, freezing to death to the bitter end because she thought you were going to get your first win last week. She would not leave. So I found that if I was sitting in the grandstands and found the crowd reaction pretty incredible, as you were just talking about. My question is sort of follows the line of Lee in the fact that you're pretty low-key, even-keel kind of guy. Takes a lot to get your motor revved up and get you mad. When you think about the fact that that could have been Homestead right there, is that going to be, again, fuel that is going to add something to your determination in the race here or next week?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. You know, for us to go to a place last week that, you know, I have typically struggled at and haven't had a whole lot of good days, to go and to lead laps and to, you know, have a shot to actually win a race at Martinsville. If you had told me that last year, I told you you're crazy. But yeah, I think it all fuels you. I think it all has to fuel you, you know, and I think it's got to fuel our team and our road crew guys, our pit crew guys, myself. You know, I think it has to, and I think it will. I think it does. I think it is. And I think that, you know, all those things are going to have to be in place, and we're going to have to bring some fire to the next 2 weeks to be, you know, a part of the show in Miami.
We'll go to Matt, and then Nate, and Jim.
Matt Weaver, AutoWeek.com. Same two questions that I had for Erik, actually. Do you feel like that as a rookie driver, a second-year driver, younger driver, that veterans are more prone to take the aggressive decisions like, you know, Denny did with you late in the race?
No, I don't think so. You know, I don't. I listened to Erik's answer, and I think he said it pretty well. You know, I don't necessarily think that, you know, Denny or anybody in that situation, his situation in Bristol racing with Kyle for the win was a great example of that. You know, I think we both know that Kyle wasn't looking at him as he's a rookie, I can beat him. He was probably thinking, man, I'm giving this all I have, and I can't shake him. You know, and Erik did a great job at Bristol, and I think that was a great example. So no, I don't think guys label you as a rookie and race you differently from it. I think they label you as the racer you are from the day you come in the sport until it changes. And if it doesn't change, and I think that's what you are in their eyes, and until you do something to change that view from their perspective, then that's what they label you as, and they're going to take advantage of whatever piece of that they can because it's their jobs.
And the Snowball Derby?
Nope, you will not see me there. Man, I'd love to go run that race again someday. I think it'd be really cool, but I just have I'm pretty picky with how I like to do things there, and have you know, we had a great group of guys that when we were racing those cars, and it wouldn't feel right for me to go and race and not have some of those same guys there to help and whatnot. So never say never. I mean, maybe one day down the road the pieces will line up where we can all get back together and do another race somewhere, maybe somewhere else, and then go down there, but not this year.
We'll go to Nate and then Jim.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Chase, you said it was somewhat odd to see your face out there on the huge billboard. That also came with a moniker, courtesy of Eddie, proclaiming you as the people's champion. Do you agree with that?
I don't know. It's not for me to say. I'm not. I'm in the position, and I'm not A, the track promoter, and I'm not the people, B. So in this situation, so I can't answer that.
There's been a lot of talk this week about, obviously, with Dale Jr. retiring, a lot of people are wondering who's going to be the most popular driver, and a lot of people heard those cheers for you after Martinsville and kind of drew the conclusion that it might be you. Is that something you pay attention to? Do you welcome that? Do you think about it, or is it just that takes care of itself?
Well, you know, I did find a lot of support throughout the week, and I do appreciate it. And as I've told you guys before, you know, whoever people want to pick to pull for, you know, if you can find a genuine connection with that person, then great. If it's me or if it's somebody else, I think as long as you have some reason that is genuine and not just because somebody told you to or because it's somebody you know or somebody you know likes him, then I'd say go for it. So, you know, if last weekend makes you want to pull for us the rest of the season and on moving forward, then great. If it doesn't, then don't, is my advice. But, you know, we welcome any kind of support we can get. I certainly do. It's appreciated. It always has been, and it's been very refreshing to see a lot of that throughout the season, not just last weekend. I think there's been a lot of people pulling for us throughout the year that I've noticed more than ever, and I think that's been pretty cool, not just in the last week.
We'll go to Jim, Jerry, and then wrap up with Jeff.
Jim Utter, Motorsport.com. Over the last half dozen or so races, you guys have put together probably the most consistent string that you've had all year. Not only good finishes, but also leading laps, as you mentioned earlier. As much as the disappointment might hurt from losing an opportunity to win last week, is it kind of offset by the confidence that's been growing in your team that the way we've been running lately, it's not impossible for us to just go out and do that again the next 3 races?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point. I appreciate you bringing that up and not just the rest of the mess, in the past week. But, yeah, I think that the way we've run is very encouraging. I think for us to come down pit road leading the race last week and leave pit road leading the race was huge too, and all those pieces have to be there. And I see no reason why we can't continue to have the performance we've had over the course of the first handful of races in the playoffs. And it's been it's been a lot of fun to run like we've been running over these past number of weeks. It's refreshing for me. It's refreshing for our team. It's exciting for our team to see, the car that they've been working so hard on all week go and run well. And I want to deliver them the things that they deserve. We've been working with a lot of these guys that, I love working with. I love those guys, and they have busted their tails for me for almost 2 years now, and I'd love to repay them with a trophy sometime. And there's no team that deserves that more than them.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and Performance Racing Network. Everyone talks about we need rivalries in NASCAR. Does this turn into that with you? Because over the past week, it's wait till next year, wait till this, and the promoters are going to be promoting this as such. Is that a distraction, or does that turn into something that fans can get around?
Well, I don't think it's a distraction for us. Again, like I said a minute ago, you can't let the situation and the things that went on there consume you, because if they do, then you're going to lose sight of what really matters, and what really matters is us trying to win one of these next 2 weekends and go race for a championship, as we were so close to doing last weekend. So close doesn't cut it in any form of racing, and I've kind of learned that the hard way. I think over some circumstances that whether I've put on myself or things just hadn't worked out. So I just think you have to make sure you stay focused on the right things and not be consumed with all the distraction and things that are going on that you guys have to do your jobs and write about and put out there. And I get it, but we can't be consumed with that. It's not going to do us any favors.
We're going to wrap up with Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. You talked about not being consumed with it, but how much did you pay attention to what was being said? Like, did you scroll through your Twitter timeline every day this week? Did you watch any of the NASCAR TV shows, anything like that?
I didn't flip on the TV one time this week. I watched a little bit of Netflix, but I can't say I watched any NASCAR stuff. I updated my Twitter a few times, but mostly to see what was going on in the college football world, because as you all know, the Georgia Bulldogs are ranked number 1 right now in the country. So I was more consumed with that than I was all this other stuff.
All right, Chase. Well, thanks for joining us today. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, we'll continue our media availabilities today with Ryan Blaney, driver of the number 21 Motorcraft Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center Ford. Ryan, in the spring, you led a race high, 148 laps. You won the first 2 stages, and then you wound up 12th. You enter Sunday's AAA Texas 500, just 6 points behind Kevin Harvick. What do you and your team need to do here to put yourself in a position to advance to the championship 4?
I think just have a solid weekend like we had in the spring race, and just try to finish it out better. We kind of got behind there, and I actually slid through my box the last pit stop, which put us back. So just try to have a good solid race, and I feel like that's the best thing that we've can do, and just try to cut back on mistakes like we have been really the whole playoffs. We haven't really had huge mistakes. We've just kind of been consistent and been able to get good finishes out of it. So coming to a track which has been decent for us in the past, and the mile-and-a-half stuff has been really good for us. So hopefully we can have a solid weekend and a good run on Sunday and put us in a decent spot going into Phoenix.
Gotcha. We'll open it up to the floor. Just raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you. Let's start with Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Chase just left here, and a lot of people are talking about what went down last week, but how do you carry that all forward? How much do you focus on what other young drivers do and what your choice would be in the same situation, or how you would react in the same situation?
I thought he handled himself really well, to be honest with you. We actually rode home together, and we talked about it a little bit, and he handled himself great, I thought, whether it was after the race or interview, and stood up for himself like he should have. And, he did a good job. He's mature beyond his age, and that's something really cool to see. And he's that that guy. So I don't really think about how I would have handled the situation just because I wasn't in it. I had my own deal going on, but I think he handled himself great, and I'm sure he's makes him. It's not good for me because it makes him hungrier than ever, and he's going to go out and run really great. So, but no, he handled himself great watching it, and I think that really speaks about his character.
Do you think you young guys got to stand up for yourselves to show that you can't be pushed around?
I think so. I think you go through a little bit of hazing, just like any sport or series when you come in. You're a rookie, and he's running great in the playoffs and contending for a bunch of wins. And we've been pretty strong. They've been a little bit faster than we are, but I do believe that we have to stand up for ourselves and not get shoved around. There's a respect you have to show, and we I respect a lot of really every one of the drivers that we're racing against right now, but you can't get pushed around because it's not going to stop if you let it happen. So you got to be respectful, but at the same time, you're not just going to let someone go push you around. You have to stand up for yourself.
We'll go to Bob, and then we'll go to Mark Garrow.
Bob Parker, ESPN. Speaking of getting pushed around, were you and Harvick mad at each other, and were those jabs playful jabs, or were they a little bit less than playful?
Yeah, obviously we weren't happy with each other, and then we both of us had our conversations and what we were upset about, and I felt like we handled it fine. It was a stern talking to, but I have a lot of respect for Kevin. He helped me a lot when I first got started back a handful of years ago, and just Martinsville racing pretty much, and we had a talk, and I think we're fine right now. I'm sure we're over it, and those were just to reassure that we were good. So.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Ryan, when you made it into round 3, did you kind of circle Texas as well as you ran here in the spring, going like, okay, that's where we could lay one down, a trip to victory lane, and make our way to Homestead?
I didn't really circle it. I just, you look at the round, and yeah, we run pretty good here in the spring race, and the mile and a halfs are obviously good for us. So I knew I was confident that we would hopefully come and run well here, but honestly, you don't know. You don't know. You could run out. You could come here and run 20th all day. You never know how things can play out or how your car is going to be. So, yeah, I like coming here, and I think we'll be pretty decent, but I'll have a better idea here in about an hour. But I just kind of go one race at a time. Before Martinsville, my main focus wasn't Texas. It was Martinsville and trying to get out of there and have a good run, and then we go into next week. So just try to do one race at a time. I don't really mark down each track that I'm looking forward to going to more than any other ones, because then I think you take away from the upcoming event. So.
Let's go to Joey.
Joey Barnes, Motorsports Tribune. Ryan, a couple months ago, you kind of alluded to the Memorial Day double and maybe doing that. I know this is a little off the rails, but with that Team Penske connection, if I could just get you to elaborate a little bit on your interest there.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. It's something a lot of respect for the people who've done it. That's a tough day of racing. That's 1,100 miles there, and not mentioning the plane rides back and forth. And when Kurt did it and when Tony did it, I thought that was really neat. So that's something I've always wanted to do, and hopefully it would come up one day and I could do it, but maybe down the road. So Penske Group's pretty good at the Indy 500, so hopefully I'll get that chance. But the interest level is really high. I'd love to do that, just to say we were a part of it, and I was able to race there and at that event. So
let's go to Matt.
Entering Matt Weaver, AutoWeek.com. Entering the Martinsville weekend, Brad Keselowski had talked about how that was a must-win race for his team to advance to Homestead. Given your success here at Texas, do you share his sentiments that some race this round, whether it's Texas because you've been good here, or even next week at Phoenix, is this a must-win scenario for you guys too?
I don't think so. I don't really think it's a must-win for us. I think we can come out here and have a solid run, and Phoenix, hasn't been our best track, but I feel like we can put together a decent race there. So I don't mark it down as all or nothing. Like if we don't win this race, there's no way we're getting to Homestead. I just don't really look at it that way. I just want to come and do the best that we can here. And if we win the race, great. If not, we tried our best, and hopefully we get a good finish out of it. Then we'll move on and figure out what we have to do for Phoenix. But I don't think this is a must-win.
Nate?
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Ryan, so the Harvick situation, was that then just a case of Martinsville racing, or would that fall in the category of what you were talking about, where somebody taking advantage of you and pushing you around?
I think it was just Martinsville racing, to be honest with you. We were struggling at some point. Well, the issue that I had was the first time he started running us over, we were trying to pass somebody, and I can't go anywhere when you're beating my bumper off and I'm trying to pass somebody. So, and then after that, we were struggling, and that's when it happened again. But I think it was just two things: of it's Martinsville, but the other thing is we're in the playoffs, and I'm not gonna just let somebody go. Especially someone we're racing in the playoffs, we need to get every point that we can, especially when you're in this round. There's so many good cars. So I don't think he was really pushing us around, being a bully or anything like that. We was just really hard racing, and I've seen that plenty of times over the years through that place, going there or watching it on TV. So there was really nothing personal. It was just two drivers racing hard.
And then last time here, you won the first two stages, and then the fateful pit call or strategy or whatever. Have you guys talked about what went wrong last time, how you might approach this race differently than that?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Really, so what happened in the first race was I think there was a caution with like 2 to go in the second stage, and we decided to stay out and try to win the stage, and we did. And that set a lot of us back. It set me in the 48. Actually, he was able to work his way up through the field and win the race. But it set a handful of us back there in the field, like 25th. We were really far back, and I think we worked our way back up to 6th or 7th, and then I slid through my pit box on the last stop, and that hurt us. But we have talked about what we would do differently a little bit, as far as if we want to stay out and try to win a stage or set ourselves up for the end of the race. And honestly, I look back at it, and I would have done the same thing. I agree with Bolins, my crew chief, and what his call was. A, because stage points are so important, especially at this point of the season, and B, it's not like none of us who pitted in that group got back up there. Jimmie got back up there and won the race. So I thought it was the right call. Just things just didn't work out for us. But you talk about strategy and things like that. If there is a caution at the end of one of these stages, what do you do? And that's kind of just situational stuff of how many cars are coming in front of you or behind you, and it's almost a kind of a in the moment call. But you try to plan for it as much as possible.
Let's come up front to Lee Spencer.
What do you know about the car you're racing this weekend?
It's pretty similar to the Kansas car we had, similar build and things like that. It's not the Kansas car, but it's one pretty close to that. So the car was pretty good at Kansas, so hopefully we can make it just as good here.
And you think Harvick would have been as gracious if you weren't both Ford drivers?
That's a good question. I don't know. I have no idea. Obviously, we all try to work together. Our goal is to try to get at least 2 Fords in the final here, and I think that helped it maybe a little bit, the way we raced each other. It might have been not as friendly if we were if this was last year, but I think that might have helped a little bit. But at the end of the day, we're just racing, and we're racing hard. But I'm sure that didn't hurt.
Let's go to Chris.
Chris Knight, Ryan, do you know how much Xfinity racing you'll be doing next year?
I don't know. I don't know. We haven't sat down and released our schedules yet, or what Brad, Joey, and I are going to be doing, and what the other driver is going to be. We don't do that till middle of the off season.
Yeah, but running the Xfinity races, do you think it's going to help you for the playoffs, especially like running tomorrow's race for Sunday?
Yeah, it's definitely going to help. So I'm in the Xfinity car this weekend at Phoenix, and I think it does help. I like running those races a lot, and especially at a track like this, where it's it's newly repaved, and the track changes constantly throughout the race, and you can really get a good idea which car is going to do, and it's similar times. So I feel like it does help a lot, and I know the rule changes. I don't know 100% of what the rules are next year for Xfinity and Cup drivers. I know they cut back races, but it does help, and I enjoy running them whenever I'm allowed or they'll let me run. So.
Well, all right, Ryan, thank you for your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, we're now joined by Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe Chevrolet. Good morning, sir. You've won 4 of the last 6 races, including the spring race. You hold the all-time track records here for wins, top 5s and top 10s. But you enter Sunday's AAA Texas 500 just 3 points behind Kevin Harvick to advance to the championship 4. Jimmie, what do you need to do here to continue your quest for an unprecedented 8th Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series championship?
Yeah, fortunately, I'm in a situation where I have 2 options left. We're only a few points out, and then obviously winning can advance. So, think of Chase and some others in the situation they're in. Win looks like the only route. So, happy to still have 2 options. We scored some decent points last weekend, although we didn't get the finish result that we needed and wanted. But scored some stage points, and we'll maximize any and every opportunity we can this weekend to either win or get max points.
Gotcha. We'll open the floor up for questions. We'll start with Holly King.
Hi, Jimmie. Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. I just wondered if you could speak a little bit about, what you have to do this week here. And it kind of reminds me of last week. You kind of came in despite all the championships and all the success here, and it was kind of a low-key, well, we'll see if you can do it. And I don't want to say people are underestimating you, but it feels like, how can you forget? You're the reigning champion. You've won 7 of these things. I imagine you still feel very good about getting into the championship 4.
Yeah, I do feel good about getting in, but I think we're all just so used to momentum, and we haven't had that extremely high positive momentum, race-winning momentum on our side just yet. And one thing I know about our team is when we get hot, and we can get hot quick, great things can happen. So it's been, as we all know, summer wasn't fun for us, and as the playoffs have started, we've been able to ratchet it up some and clean up some areas, but we're still searching a little bit and looking for more speed. We had a great test session in Homestead, and some great thinking and ideas that were put into place for this weekend. So we're excited to get on track, knowing this weekend and how fast this track is. Phoenix is very fast for as short as it is. And obviously Homestead, we feel like we're a bit smarter, and hopefully we'll have a bit more speed in the car.
Let's come down in front to Bob, and then we'll go to Claire.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. If you're behind Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott on Sunday, do you think about what happened to them, and do you have to be any extra careful?
Yeah, you stay aware. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You don't want to be caught up in something that you don't need to be. But we'll just see how that evolves. I mean, last weekend was crazy on a lot of levels. When we're coming to the checkered flag and cars are crashing, and I'm off the gas on the brakes, trying not to drive underneath the back of the car in front of me, and I hear cars going by on the rev limiter. Guys just wide open trying to cross the finish line, not caring what's in the way in front of them. Is pretty crazy environment that we lived through last week in Martinsville.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, totally different racetrack here. Do you expect the same sort of kind of crazy environment, though, because so much is on the line this weekend? And then a lot of discussion about your team, and many years you've struggled, but then have come back and won. How different is this from any other year that the 48 is not there yet, but then, bam, there they are?
Yeah, I mean, we're a victim of our own success in some regards. The expectations are high. A 20-race winless streak is considered a big thing when, it's hard to win just a race. So there are expectations put on us, and I'll accept them. That's fine. I have high expectations for myself, but the sport isn't easy. It really isn't. And I think it speaks to how when a team or an organization is on, like we see right now with a couple teams, how special that is. And when I reflect back on what the 48's been able to accomplish, just how special that is. It's not easy to do, but we're not done. No one on this team is, and we're ready to get back on top, and whatever work that needs to go into it, we're ready. We've been trying extremely hard to get there. We just haven't got there yet, but we'll get there. First part of your question. The speeds really kind of dictate that. I would say restarts, knowing how tough it is to pass and how narrow the groove was here in the spring, restarts will be key. But after that, once we get up to speed, we just can't do things here that you do at Martinsville.
Let's go right over here.
Jimmie, Jerry Fraley from the Dallas Morning News. You're a young man. You're being successful in this sport. But as you see your peers start to walk away and try other things and investigate other parts of life, does that ever cross your mind that, I'd like to try that, maybe it's time to try something else?
For me, I've always chased an experience in the car that, I've had curiosity watching guys like Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett when they've walked away. And I've asked them questions when they were in those points in time. Obviously now Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Dale. There's a point in time where somebody's either set a date out there that says, I'm like Rusty, I'm going to stop at this point. That time came, he wasn't ready. He didn't like that, so I filed that away. Mark Martin thought he was ready a couple times, and he wasn't. He kept coming back. Others, that fire's out, and they're ready to step down and happy to walk away. So I'm on my own journey. I still feel like I have more to accomplish, and I still love being in that race car. So as long as that's there, I'll be out here driving you guys crazy week in and week out.
Let's go to Nate, and then we'll go to Jim, and then to Lee.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Jimmie, this is kind of crazy to ask a 7-time champion. Are you leaning on a guy who's a second-year driver with no wins yet? But I think it's fair to say Martinsville again showed, the 24 has been outrunning the 48 pretty consistently through the playoffs. Is there anything you can go to them and take from what they're doing, or is there no crossover, does it not apply, or is it any sense of concern?
They're with Alan and Chad. They do have different philosophies in how they build a car, so we can look at different things and say, directionally, this is what they're trying to achieve and implement that into our cars. But they're not the same. I mean, it's really difficult to build cars the same, and especially in the different shops like what we have. But it does give us great optimism knowing that our equipment can go that fast. We just haven't figured out our mousetrap like we need to. So they've been the mark, I think, for us to look at and say, all right, our HMS equipment can at least do that. We need to get there.
Jim Utter, Motorsport.com. Kind of a follow-up about Chase. He'll have a lot of ups and downs in his presumably long NASCAR career. I just wondered what your take was on kind of the aftermath of last weekend and the outpouring of support he got at the track and how he handled himself after the incident.
Yeah, I thought he handled it well, really, really well, to be honest. He's been around the sport a long time. He understands how it works. He's raced his whole life. So there's just a style and charisma and presence that he has. And I think we've all noticed his maturity behind the wheel, but it does go further than that, and how he handles situations like that. I mean, the guy really does have a lot of experience in a short period of time and did a great job with it. I've tried to be there for him in a couple different instances. I think at Dover, how close he was to winning. Last week, before the cameras turned on, I was walking away from my car and saw him standing there and just tried to say a couple quick things to him. He's reached out to me in a variety of different instances, especially this week and moving forward and what to focus on and how to look forward to going racing. So he asks questions, and I'm sure he has anybody in the world that'll tell him what their opinion is, but it's neat when he asks, and I can try to frame it up from my point of view and share some experience and kind of help him grow. But he has great resources with his dad, with Jeff, myself, Dale's there. It's just on and on. So he handled it well, and as you point out, he's going to be around for a long, long time. And I can't wait for him to get that first win, and hopefully he can get back in this championship chase. It'd be a shame to have it play out. He's not in that Final Four as a result of last weekend.
Hey, SpencerMotorsport.com. Have you ever been burnt out? I mean, do you ever get to the point where it just becomes a little too much, the pressure, the travel, everything else? And has the move to Colorado helped give you balance in your life to kind of, get away from the mess?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been aware of it and have chosen to not race in the Xfinity Series, not race other vehicles. Spend time with my family, to travel with Shani. It's something that we've both enjoyed together, and to help put years on the back of my career, I've We have the place. We've had a place in New York. We have the place in Colorado. We're not there now full time. That was kind of a last winter project that was a ton of fun, and I wish I could do it more often. But we do look for those outlets just to help. But this sport does take a lot out of all of us. I mean, we all live it and know it. So yes, burnout does happen. But what's neat being in a team environment like I am, if I'm feeling the wear and tear, I just look around and I have my teammates and Chad and all the other guys to kind of lift you up and get you back going. But it is a fine balance. It really is, and I think I work harder than maybe some others do to try to build that into my lifestyle. He works harder, and it doesn't necessarily help. I've tried, and Jeff, Rick, and on, but he just works harder and harder. It's served me very well. It doesn't make it easy at times, but it's turned out all right for me. Go.
So we'll go right here to my left, and then we'll wrap up with Mark.
Jimmie, direct left over here. Brad Gilly, PRN, Sirius XM. I know you don't need any extra motivation to get to Homestead, but with you and Chase below the cut line, does it weigh on you anymore to make sure Chevrolet doesn't get shut out?
Yeah, I mean it's in my mind. I mean, from a teammate perspective, Chase, a Chevrolet, those things do kick into mind. Of course, I'm selfish and most worried about myself and what benefits me, which would then benefit Chevy. But yeah, I want a Chevy in that Final Four without a doubt. Hadn't thought of it really until now, but yeah, we need one in there.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Jimmie, last year you go to Homestead, it's must win. You spend most of the race behind, but you just kind of waited for it to come to you. And when you had your opportunity, you seized it. What kind of mentality do you have inside the car? Your must win, like maybe Sunday. You talked a little bit about really needing to win this race, but not trying to overdo it early or just sit there and wait until you get your opportunity and then try to make it happen.
Yeah, racing's changed so much on its own. Path of progression, and then when you look at stage racing, in the way we crown a champion now with one race, winner take all, you need to absolutely capitalize on opportunities that pop up, and that can be as simple as qualifying to a restart, whatever it might be. When you retrace your steps and look at what led to a race win, sometimes it's one position on a pit stop that had you in a different lane. So it's really hard to say there's a clear path to victory and clear path to success, but walking that fine line and being the aggressor and taking advantage of opportunities is key. But it's more complex, and there are more variables today than when I started 16 years ago, and I think that makes it much more entertaining for the fans to watch. But we're all living in dog years, living it day after day. It's very stressful.
Well, all right, Jimmie. Well, thank you for your time. Good luck this
Thank you.
weekend and the rest of the way. All right, we'll continue our media availabilities this morning. We're joined now with a panel of the NASCAR Xfinity Series Round of 8 playoff contenders, joined by Matt Tifft, driver of the number 19 Surface Sunscreen Fanatics Toyota, Brennan Poole, the number 48 DC Solar Chevrolet, and Cole Custer, the number 00 Haas Automation Ford. Brennan, let's start with you. Talk a little bit about what it means to you to be racing at your home track, and then talk about your relief efforts for the hurricane in Houston.
Yeah, Texas is a pretty special place for me. I used to come up here and raced legend cars on the 5th mile and the road course and the quarter mile here inside the racetrack, and raced dirt modifieds out on the dirt track as well. So I've raced at every single track at Texas Motor Speedway. I've won at all of them except the big track, so it'd be pretty awesome to knock that out of the park tomorrow night. But yeah, of course, I'm from Houston, as most of you know, and the hurricanes came through there and really tore the place up. Places I would go every single day were absolutely destroyed, and so we had to deal with the race shop that week where we raised funds and had a food bank, and everybody from our team donated food, and they also donated funds, and we were able to raise over 6,000 meals for the city of Houston. So it was really just an awesome week, and was really proud of our team and a lot of the people in the area and people, all over the country who helped, raise money for us to donate some meals to the city. So that was really cool. And I'm proud to be here back in my home state and, have an opportunity to win a race tomorrow night. And, certainly I'm kind of holding that close to my heart, everything that the city's been through. And it would be awesome to go back and repay them, just like the Astros did it a couple nights ago. So, we'll see what we can do.
We'll start here with Cole, and then we'll just go down the line. But short of winning the O'Reilly Auto Parts 300 tomorrow, what do you need to do, you and your team need to do to put you in a position to advance to the championship four at Homestead Miami Speedway?
It's just doing everything right and trying to get as many points as you can, really. I think everybody's seen how important the stage points are in these playoffs, so I think that'll be really important, and really just making no mistakes. Even though you really want to try and solidify you're going to be in the championship four here, you got to try and make sure that you don't take yourself out of it here either. You can't win it here, but you can definitely take yourself out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us who were tight in this deal knew that it was going to come down to stage points. We had some things go our way where we were able to gain a little bit of points and have a 5-point cushion. But, we're going to have to do it again this weekend and have a little bit stronger of a run than we had at Kansas. So, we started out the playoffs really strong with 3 top 5s. Kansas, we had another strong top 10 run going. And, we kind of had some mishap on pit road, lost some track position, and we weren't able to fully recover from it. We just got fortunate that 2 of the other guys we were battling had problems. And we were able to capitalize on that by just finishing the race out. But we did come away with stage points, which were huge. So I think that, we're just going to have to earn stage points, be up front all night, and have another strong finish. And, take care of business, and we'll have to move on to Phoenix and do the same thing. Obviously, we want to win a race. That's kind of the attitude on this team is we race to win. And so we're going to do everything that we can to make that happen, but we're going to be smart about it and make good decisions, try to get as many stage points as we can, and just put ourselves in a position at the end to make something happen. And depending on where everyone's at and where we're at, we'll try to make the best decisions to put ourselves in a position to go to Homestead.
And I think for us, the biggest thing is that we're 5 points in the hole, I guess you could say, but at the same point, it's 3 to the bottom of the totem pole too. So reiterating what these guys said, stage points are going to be huge. We haven't done a good job of that. We've just been fighting a lot of adversity in the beginning parts of these races. We've rallied, but we'd like to cancel out that part of it. So if we could do that, I think that's the biggest key here is to put ourselves in a position to have good track position and hold that. We've had the speed. We just haven't executed in the beginning and middle part of these races. We've rallied almost every weekend, but I think it's time now for these last 3 races, but especially here in Phoenix, to just have a solid day from start to finish. And I'm glad we're finishing the races the way we need to now, but we sure could use a little bit better track position to start off these things would be nice. So we're going to focus on that and have a mistake-free race, and we'll have to be a little bit aggressive though too to get ahead of some of these guys. And obviously, if we could get a win, that'd be great, but we got to be smart too.
Gotcha. We'll open it up for questions. Raise your hand, and we'll get a mic to you. Chris Knight.
NightCatchFans.com. Cole, you're at the bottom of the playoff grid right now, but how do you feel about going into the next 2 weekends knowing that you guys still realistically have a shot at the Homestead?
Yeah, even though we had some bad luck last week and cut a tire with, I think, 3 to go or something, we've had a lot of speed all year. I don't think there's any reason why we can't get ourselves out of this hole, really. You can make up points really fast. Obviously, we can kind of see with these stage points and everything. So as long as we just do what we need to do and not make any mistakes, I think we'll be fine. And we ran good here earlier in the year, and I think we're bringing something similar back. So I'm looking forward to it. And Phoenix is a good place for us. I think we've learned a lot in our short track stuff, so I think we're pretty confident going to Phoenix too.
Let's go to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTires.net, Performance Racing Network. Brennan, I know you mentioned the Houston reliefs, but what was the reception when you went down there? And what was your reaction when you were able to go and kind of see? People think because it's happened a month and a half ago that it's over and it's done, but people are, there's homes that are just still devastated, and it's going to take years to rebuild.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, it's just shocking, really. A lot of friends and family affected from the storm, and to see kind of what they've had to go through, is just devastating. But the least that I felt like I could do was try to do something, to help them out. And so I'm really proud of the over 6,000 meals that we raised. Just a small chunk of something that we were able to do for the city. But I think the biggest thing for me that was really cool was just to see a bunch of other athletes and people in the community there in Houston and around the country that stepped up to make an impact, that were able to donate and raise large amounts of money to help rebuild the city. Just crazy amounts of damage. It's hard to even understand how something like that could happen. But did everything that we could to try to make an impact, and in a small way, I feel like we accomplished that.
Also, the entire region rejoicing this week with the Astros World Series win. You going to go down for any big parties or anything? What do you think?
I wish I could get down there. My cousin and niece and everything, they went out to the parade the other day, and I got a lot of pictures from some friends that were down there. And I wish I could go and experience that. But it was awesome. I watched every game, and I was pulling for them all the way. And it's kind of hard to see it. As a kid, I used to joke with my friends, and we would all joke like, "Oh, you think we'll ever see the Astros win the World Series?" and things like that. So to actually see it happen was just it's kind of crazy. I remember going to games as a kid and being there. I grew up just north of the city, so so I actually got forced to go there one day for math class and keep track of everything during the game. So I've been there, and so to see it was really cool, especially to see all those guys' hard work pay off. And to see them win for the city, it's just the city needed it, and so it's very special, and it's pretty cool. So hopefully we can do the same thing in a couple more weeks. I've got a lot of fans that have been following me for a long time in the area, and I got a lot of fans that are going to be here this weekend. I got guys that are already camping out. So just try to go take care of business and do the same.
Any additional questions? Well, all right, gentlemen. Well, thank you for your time. Good luck this weekend and the rest of the season.
Thank you.